Hello everyone. Hi, it's Naya Nailed It here, and if you know me from Instagram or TikTok, hi, and if you are just finding out about me from YouTube, hi also. This is my very first YouTube video and I'm very excited. Like, I'm so happy that I finally started this, because we really made a lot of resolutions 2024, and this was one of them for me, and I'm very happy that I have gained the confidence and courage to do this. So enough talk. Today basically I just wanted to show you guys how I do my application designs, filing, and then like shaping. So I was doing a stiletto set on this client, and it might be ghetto, like it might look ghetto, yes, but I use like an actual big scissors for this because I just feel like it gives me the best line of view. So I already pre-cut the nails to the length she wanted, and then I used scissors to kind of line it up. So the middle part that was showing that white line or that white mark from cutting it previously, that's what I use as a guide, and that's what works for me. So it just makes it easier to cut, and kind of, so you see that is that white line that I use as like my middle point, and I just cut sideways from that. This part doesn't have to be like perfect, and I try as much as possible to cut. It's better you cut like less than you cut much, so it's better you have more to file off than you have nothing, because you can't add back the nail. So it's just better you have that. Then for the filing, I usually use a not so sharp file. Actually, this is just what I use that works for me. Something not so sharp, or something not very maybe a file I've used before for somebody else that I use in this filing, so that I don't file off too much too quickly. So that's basically just what I do, and I'm just going to let you guys watch my technique on filing. Basically, there's nothing much. I think one thing I do, I think almost everybody does this, is you always have to, when filing like this, you always have to hold the nails for support. So you see my 3 fingers are holding the other side of the nail for enough support so that the client doesn't feel pain or anything. And also, please remember to kind of the sides of your file, remember to use another file to like make it blunt, so you do not cut your client. When I first started nails and I was doing this on myself, I used to cut myself a lot. So please always do that, because it hurts like a paper cut, and you don't want to obviously do that to a paying client, because that's going to reduce their satisfaction and reduce the probability of them coming back to you. And you always want them to come back to you. So I'm just going to let you guys watch. Life move fast when you do what you want. At this time, doing what I want. Just to pop back in and say that, please, while filing, you always want to take a step back and just look at the design. Don't just be filing blindly and say, oh, I know what I'm doing. Like, most of the time you do not know what you're doing, and you file off too much, or you file off too much from one side, and then it's wonky, and then you have to file off more from the other side, and then it's so thin. So please make sure that you file a little, take a step back, look at it, and then keep filing. Yep. So for the blending in of the tips, I always do this, and it just helps to make for like seamless application, and I do it at 16, and I don't really know like what unit that is, but that is the drill that I use. Is the STE 101 or so, and then I just file. And please, this part can really hurt the client if you apply too much pressure, or if you stay on a particular area for too long. So just make sure you're using it lightly, and I usually just run my finger through to make sure like there's no bump, or just to feel its so it like feels like I'm just touching the person's finger. There is no, I can't tell where the finger starts and where the tip starts. That's why I run my hand through that. That's what I just do. I know some people can also use like a normal hand file to do that. I don't really like doing that because you can hurt the client. You can file off too much of the person's nail bed and make the client's nail bed very brittle. So I never do that, but I know people do that. Maybe they have their own techniques, but I just stick to what works for me, and this is what works for me. So next is basically prep, and I did not show myself putting removing the cuticles, but this was me putting the dehydrator on. You can see after I put it, the way it literally just dehydrated. Basically, it was very satisfying, and that's what I do for all the nails. And most times I apply 2 layers of each. So I apply 2 layers of the dehydrator and then 2 layers of the primer. I don't know, I feel like some people say you shouldn't apply 2 layers of the dehydrator. I don't know why. Nobody's ever told me the reason why, but it works for me. It's a very tested and trusted prep routine that I've been using for a year now, because I've just been doing nails for 2 years now, but I don't think I've ever had complaints while using this process that it doesn't work or nail retention has been low. So it really works for me. And then this is me using my primer, and I use the Pinky Spur primer. So yeah, I just put it on all the nails, and I do 2 layers of this. Yeah, and now for the star of the show, the reason why people are so afraid to do nails, acrylic to powder ratio. I feel like I should do a dedicated video for acrylic to powder ratio, because if you're not getting your acrylic to powder ratio, you cannot do nails properly. Anyways, so once I get my acrylic on my brush, I usually just start by putting it at the middle point, basically where the tips meet the nail. That's where I start from, and I always almost always use the 3 bead method. I know a lot of people say, oh, use as much acrylic as you need, but I feel like if you have a dedicated route that you always take, like a dedicated routine that you always use, it kind of works better than just freestyling and doing what you think should be done. So if you have a dedicated routine that you always use, it's easier and it's better than using or do whatever you feel like. 3 bead method has always worked for me, and I feel like you should try to focus on doing a routine before you now start doing whatever works for you at that point. So basically, this is what I do. And I think this bead, I didn't put it down. Okay, no, this bead was actually perfect. I think it was when I was doing the middle finger that you see that it was a little runny, so I had to clear it from the sides. But this was also good. And also another thing, I know a lot of people say that, even if my application isn't good, I can always file. Filing takes time, and my dear, if you want to do well in doing nails, and like you actually want to enjoy the process, because I feel like a lot of people, the reason why they give up is because they're not even enjoying the process of doing nails. It now becomes a chore because they feel like they can never get it right. Work on your application. If your application is smooth and good, you will always love doing nails. Honestly, when I first started, my application was not very good, and I used to dread doing nails because my application was just not good. So I think that's one advice I would give. Please master your application. Like, it cuts your doing nail time in half, and it honestly makes you happier. It really does. It gives you a sense of accomplishment that, okay, you're getting it right. Not that you spend like an hour 30 minutes doing application and it's still not right. You obviously feel bad. So anyways, that was just my little token, because I used to be in this position and I didn't really find, like, I found a lot of tutorials, but I didn't really find people that would talk like this and would kind of encourage you while teaching you. So I always wanted to be that person. So you guys can see that I let it run a little bit to the sides. So that's what you shouldn't do. Always make sure it's angled down. I was trying to get the perfect angle for the video, so I didn't really angle it down a lot, but you should really do that. Then for the cuticle application, I think it took me up to 6 months to master this cuticle application, because I was always tampering with the cuticle space. Like, I would always like poke my brush in there and like try to blend it. But the secret to it, and I found this out quite late, is that let the acrylic work for you. Let your products work for you. Don't try to manipulate them too much. Let these products work for you. You bought them with your money. They must work for you. So instead of trying to manipulate them a lot, especially for the cuticle applications, let it flow, not flow into the cuticle, but just let the acrylic flow just a little bit upwards. I'm not saying that you should angle the nail upwards. I'm just saying that when you put it on, for like a millisecond, a half of a second, let it flow into the upper surroundings. So I don't know if you guys understand what I'm saying, but that's just what I'm trying to get out. I feel like I'll still do a better positioning of a video than this, so that you guys can really see how the cuticle application works, because that is where most people have problems. So again, I put it in the middle where the fake nail meets the nail bed. That's where I start, and that's my 3-bead method. I don't think I really have had reasons to apply more than 3 beads unless it's absolutely necessary. And you can see that I'm patting. I'm not dragging with force. I'm patting first, especially when you just place the bead on the nail. You pat and then you drag lightly, very lightly, feather light. Also, you guys, I really want to say this, that you can't be using low quality products and expect high quality results. It's not going to happen. You are not a magician. The person that sold it to you knows that it's low quality, and you know it's low quality because you got it for a low price. Also, I'm not saying that all expensive products are worth it. I'm just saying that there are just some products that you yourself, they are not of good quality. I'm based in Nigeria, so I use Nigerian products, obviously, and I get my acrylic from somebody on Instagram known as Glitz by Safat. I think that's her Instagram handle, and her powders are so buttery, so nice. That's what I'm using in the video, and that's what I've been using for like a year now. I've tried to use other products. And like, I'm calling the name of the products not to downplay the quality of the products, because all of them are just very high quality. I've used Tiwa Signature Nails, her powder, very good. I've used Ari Chris, but I don't think I really like Ari Chris's powder. No shade or anything. It's just something I've used and I don't think really worked for me. So I use Tiwa Signature powder. And one thing I found is that most times I always have to put a little amount of clear powder into my acrylic powder, the normal color I use, just to make it not dry quickly, because I'm not like you. As you can see, I don't work very fast, so, and this will help beginners a lot. If you're slow while doing your application, I would suggest putting a little amount of clear powder into your acrylic powder to just make it dry a little slower. Yes, and I use Pinky's Pro monomer. That's like universal. Everyone knows that Pinky's Pro like is one of the best acrylic powders in Nigeria. Let's just get that straight. And no promotion or anything. This is not a paid promotion, I'm just saying. So again, I put my cuticle application, and this process was very, very satisfying for me. I used to really hate it, but with time, the more you practice, the better you get, and the more you enjoy it, because doing these nails honestly did not feel like work to me. And I feel like that's what people forget. If you're doing nails for the wrong reasons, you're not going to do it for a long time. Let's just be real. You're not going to do it for a long time. So this is my filing, and filing was something that I don't think I really found it very hard to do, but it took a lot of trying different techniques. You can see that my thumb remains at the top of the nail to kind of give it some support, so I'm not just blindly wiggling the person's nails, because that would hurt so bad. So then I usually push back the sides of the nails to make sure that the acrylic is not on the person's nail, because sometimes it does get on, but you can easily just file that off. I do the sides first before I file the top, and I just file the top from up to down, and I usually try to get a little part of the cuticle sides, just so that I'm not having so much work with my drill when I go in with it later. And I always check the sides to make sure it's leveled, so it's not wonky or one side is not like completely flat. So I just go in all around and make sure everything is okay and nice. You can see me stopping from time to time. That's me looking at the side to make sure I'm doing a good job. Okay, so for sealing the cuticles, I use a non-safety bit, and I will not recommend this for beginners. Please don't use a non-safety bit, because you will injure your clients. Not you might, you will. So because when I first started doing nails and I would use a non-safety bit on myself, I would injure myself so badly. That's why I literally have trauma doing my own nails. I almost never do acrylic on myself unless it's acrylic press-ons, because I have so much PTSD from that. But you can see me going very slowly. I watch other nail techs and I see that they go very fast and like they're kind of just used to it. I, on the other hand, I'm not very used to it. When I first started doing acrylics, I would not even seal the cuticles at all, because I would just be so scared to hurt anybody. So I wouldn't even seal the cuticles. I wouldn't blend it at all with my drill. I would just use my file and walk away. But please don't do that. Get a safety bit and seal the cuticles. That is the secret to long-lasting nails. Apart from kind of blending it in and making it look like the person's natural nail, it helps with lifting, because I only just recently found out that if you don't seal the cuticles, the top part is bulky. The top part has to be the most the part that has the least amount of acrylic, so that when it starts growing out, it doesn't lift. Because if there's too much acrylic on that cuticle part, it will lift. Even if your retention is good, it will lift. So that's what I do, and I do it as slow as I need to. Like, you don't need to be quick, you don't need to be rushing and try to be like those big nail techs. Like, those girls have it in the bag. But if you feel like you're not very comfortable, you're not very confident, please go as slow as you need to. So basically that's just what I'm doing all through. But she don't love me, she too scary. My hope is fun like Jackie Brown. I wanna know if she too down. Will you be my leading lady? I want a contract, girl, no maybe. In the meantime, just some me time. You know what you want. Crib by the beach like Odell. Over my killers don't tell. Shadow my mark of the New York the shadow. Now it's time for the design, and this is not a major part of this video. I just decided to put it in, but I'm doing a flame, I think that's what they call it, a flame design. And I don't do this very often, this particular design very often, so I'm not the best at it, but you know, I get it done. And I start with a line. I usually, anytime I'm doing nail art, I try, especially for harder designs, I try to start with a guide. So that's why I put on the straight line first. And yeah, let me know if you guys want like an in-depth tutorial on like these nail arts, because I wanted to just focus on acrylic application for my channel for some time before I go into like in-depth nail art, because I feel a lot of people have problem with their acrylic application and filing, and then to compensate they try to do the nail art. But baby, you need to be good with your application and your filing first. Your acrylic needs to be laid to perfection before you start focusing mainly on your nail art. So yeah. Will you be my leading lady? And then this other design was the butterfly. She said she wanted butterflies on her two middle fingers, so her ring finger and her middle finger, and that's what I just did. No guide for this one. I honestly just drew from memory, because I've drawn so many butterflies in my life as a nail tech that it honestly just comes naturally to me. But if you also want a video on like a guided video on how to draw butterflies, I would be more than happy to do that. So also I buffed the nails before doing this nail art, and I don't think I've heard anybody talking about not doing it, but you really need to do it, because if you don't, when you're drawing your nail art, it's going to bleed into the crusts of the file that you used to file your nails. So you need to buff it and make sure it's smooth. Some people apply cuticle oil, but I've never seen the need. Buffing is honestly enough for me. So then I do the butterflies again. Again, no guide. I really don't know what to say about this process. It just comes naturally to me. Then I apply top coat off camera, and this is the final look. Please, I want you guys to like this video, subscribe if you appreciate the content I just put out, and leave a comment on how I can make it better. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye. In the meantime,